Good morning, everybody, and you're all very welcome. It's great to see such a gathering and a lot of familiar faces and a nice mix of representation from the industry. I'm going to chair here today, but I'm also going to give a quick rundown on a project that is close to my heart, Grangegorman development. This is just to whet the appetite and to sort of put things in context, because what we're doing in Grangegorman is quite challenging, and we believe that BIM has a place certainly in the project. We not sure exactly how far we can go at this stage, and the follow-on presentations are basically case histories of successful use of BIM. And so this will just put the overall context from an Irish perspective, and then we'll learn from the follow-on presentations. Just to give you a quick, most of you in the room I know this project and are working with us on it, and we appreciate all the support we can get. Grangegorman is a unique inner city development. It's a northern quarter being developed mostly for education, on the within 1.5 kilometres of the city centre. So it's quite unique site. It's a 30-hectare site, an old psychiatric hospital, the old St Brendan's Hospital. And back in 2008, a major master plan was completed by a company called MRY in joint venture with DMOD Architects, and this has set the scene for the whole project since then. The project, if you like, mix is shown on this slide here, which is about 15% healthcare, and the balance is really the tan part. This image here is all about education. With the four is playing fields, and this area here is a mixed-use development, a major mixed-use development, right down here beside the Broadstone, which is currently a major bus depot, which will be the new Lewis stop when Lewis developed by 2017. So the two projects work hand in glove, the Grangegorman project and the Lewis project, and no doubt you'll have noticed in your approach to here today that the Lewis is up and running, and work is happening out on the streets here, which will eventually lead to the Lewis running out in Grangegorman, the Lewis Cross City. As I said, the project is largely about education, and this is an image of what the thing will look like when it's finished. I won't go into the detail here because there's no time, but it's a mix of education, quadrangles, student accommodation, student facilities, a total of 480,000 square metres on the total campus. So it's quite a large build. If we had all the money in the world, which we thought we had back 7 or 8 years ago, it would take about 2 billion to build out this campus. Unfortunately, we're working off much thinner pickings these days, so we're picking it off in small bits and pieces. And this is the first piece that we're doing, which is basically picking existing protected structures on site and converting them to student use. The intention is to have 1,000 students on site next September, so we're on a very tight programme for this. And we have essentially a 40 million programme to refurbish existing buildings and build 1 or 2 new ones. We've already finished a new hospital at the edge of the site, and we decanted the existing clients into that last May, and we're actively working on these buildings at the present time, converting them for student use. And we're also out to tender on one significant research building. I see Dennis Burton in the hall here, who was the designer on that building, and we're examining tenders at the present time. As well as that, we are actually building on site in terms of the major civil engineering contractor on site, Roadbridge, and contract awarded in November, and these days it's all go with heavy civil engineering construction, a 26 million contract, and we're putting all the infrastructure and the public realm started anyway, at least what we can afford at the present time, and that work is funded by the Department of Education and Science. And then the adaptive reuse of existing buildings, a sample of the work we're doing on a building that has been idle for the last 30 years. So the intention is to convert these into educational use, and the fine arts, photography and social sciences faculty from DIT will move up here for September. The big prize in the overall current programme is PPPs. We've got a major PPP going forward. It's valued at anything from 180 to 200 million. We're talking about 36,000 square metres on one quadrangle and 16,000 on another. It will accommodate the science and tourism and engineering faculty on one and the creative arts on the other. A total of 10,000 students. So the intention is that this will be completed by 2017. It's currently, we're shortlisting teams, and the intention is to go to market. The ITN will be issued in the first or second week in March. And this is an extremely exciting project with tremendous interest in it and a really big challenge. And really the work we're doing now is in preparation for this major PPP. It's been dubbed as the flagship project in the current round of current stimulus programme, which was announced by Minister Howland in July of last year. So the current funding we have is roughly about 360 million. 50% of it is the PPPs. Then about a quarter is proper education and skills. There is about an eighth, if you like, which is DIT funded through Higher Education Authority grants and Enterprise Ireland, as well as their own funds. And also then, we're still doing work for the Health Service Executive on an ongoing basis. There's a number of projects there. We've also some exciting entrances to find into the site. It's a very complicated solution to an entrance from the Broadstone, and this is currently in Part 8 planning with the City Council, and is a major piece of work to be delivered as well, with a multi-agency involvement. And I suppose post-2017, we have plans as well. We're looking at Programme 3, which is basically other projects, and we're looking at priority projects like a new library, a new business school, and also there's a number of self-funded projects, which would be the student accommodation, probably the sports centre, etc., etc. And these projects will be rolled out as the other projects get delivered. So there's an image prepared by one of my colleagues which shows roughly 20 projects that are currently in orbit. This is like the spinning plates analogy. The ones that are buffer orange here are completed. That's the mental health facility and demolitions. The ones in blue are actively on the ground. It's adaptive reuse, 2 contracts, Ratigans and persons are working on site. The stabilisation works we're doing, we've got a small contractor called Burks working on one particular project and others to come. We've got road bridge on this contract here, a major contract. We've got the other projects then around the edge, the PPPs here, the research hub. I've gone through planning and they're currently at tender. We've got a primary care centre in planning from yesterday. We've got Broadstone Gate, as I mentioned, in planning. We've got these projects around here all at feasibility stage, and we're developing briefs on these as we speak. So currently the opportunity for BIM is quite enormous here, and what we can do to write BIM into briefs, we have to decide without restricting competition, obviously. And our projects are a mix of big projects and small projects, and this is the challenge for us. So with that, I would like to, as time is pressing and we should keep the time, I'd like to hand over to our first speaker this morning. It's Dr. Tomo Czezak, who is Vice Head of the Department of Civil Engineering at University of Ljubljana, Slovakia. Tomo has direct experience of using BIM and in a particularly relevant project to what we're doing here. And it's my pleasure to introduce him now. Tomo.